Welcome back to Squawk Box this morning. The top currency regulator saying that clarity around cryptocurrency regulation is on its way.
We're very focused on getting this right. We're very focused on not killing this. And it's equally important that we develop the networks behind Bitcoin and other cryptos as it is that we prevent money laundering and terrorism financing.
Joining us right now to talk about the state of crypto regulation, the rise of stablecoins, and so much more is Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire. Jeremy, it's great to see you this morning. You just heard this idea that regulators don't want to stop this. The question I'd ask you, though, is, you don't know who's coming into necessarily this next administration and how they're going to feel about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Are you getting any kind of feedback from that transition team yet?
Thanks, Andrew. It's really a mixed situation. I think this is a world where there's a lot of different parts of both the left and the right that understand this differently. And frankly, there's a lot of misunderstanding. And so on the one hand, you have, I think, on the very liberal end of the spectrum, a view that somehow this is, not good for individuals who have less access to the financial system, when in fact the opposite is the case, that this technology, in particular stablecoins, hold promise of opening up and widening access to the financial system more deeply than the existing banking system. On the other hand, you have big banks and those in Congress that they may lobby aggressively, saying, hey, these firms in this space need to have tighter rules around them. They can't be allowed to have less strict rules like companies like PayPal and Square and certainly crypto firms have. And then you've got kind of moderates both on the left and the right who I think are see this constructively.
Let me just ask you about stable coins, and I still wish you'd just tell me real quick. Actually, let's do it in 30 seconds. The Biden administration, do you believe that they are going to be positively predisposed to cryptocurrency and making it broader, or going to more tightly regulate it, just straight up and down?
I think that they will ultimately be supportive because this is an infrastructure change as big as the initial commercial internet, and they're going to be focused on infrastructure changes that make America more competitive. And this is absolutely going to be a core building block in that.
Okay, let's move on to stable coins versus Bitcoin. You have a stable coin. It's actually had a high degree of success. I mean, the numbers are off the charts. It's up 500%. Just explain to the viewers who are uninitiated what the difference is, frankly, between something like a stable coin relative to a Bitcoin.
Sure. A stable coin like USD coin or USDC is a digital currency that is backed by dollars, dollars that are held in the traditional banking system. And so it's really, as some people like to say, it's a new form factor for dollars. It is a way to take the stability of a dollar sitting inside the Federal Reserve governed banking system and then imbue it with the powers of cryptocurrency, which is the ability to transmit it globally, instantly, frictionlessly, the same way we can exchange information, data, and content. So it is really a way to kind of turbocharge dollars or other currencies, other fiat currencies, by running them on top of blockchain infrastructure. And so it's really combining these worlds.
Explain this, though. Oftentimes we hear that, one day the Federal Reserve could decide to issue their own version of a digital version of the US dollar. If that were to happen, would that effectively crowd out a stable coin?
Well, I think right now, whether it's the Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank or central banks around the world, there's obviously a lot of interest in this topic. There's a lot of research around central bank digital currencies. But the reality is that right now, leading companies in the private sector, whether it's out of the crypto industry, such as Sorkin and Coinbase, or major firms like Visa or major internet technology firms, are racing ahead to implement stablecoins as a new, fundamental innovation in how money moves around the world. I think the real question is basically over the coming, let's say, 2, 3, 4 years, is there some convergence there? Are the standards that are built in industry and by fintechs and by the private sector, do those things converge with say, the safeguards that central banks care about, and is there a supervisory role that makes sense?
Let me ask you a different question. How many coins, digital currencies, do you think could exist in a meaningful way 5-10 years from now? I ask because people right now look at Bitcoin as sort of the holy grail of them. Your coin now has had some success. Is there an unlimited number? If there's an unlimited number, you'd say actually maybe these things don't have that kind of value. Maybe there really are only a couple of them. By the way, I used to think there'd be only a couple of television streamers or a couple of apps that people would use, and now everybody's got so many. So hard to know. But where do you land?
Well, I think there will continue to be a very broad proliferation in token-based digital assets. And so just to unpack that mouthful, similar to the analogy you give, no one believed that everyone who could create something was going to be able to distribute it to any other consumer in the world, whether it be content or a craft or a product or their labor. Internet-based markets have been very transformative. They've enabled these long tails to exist. Now, in financial markets, we haven't seen something quite like that, but you have to differentiate. You have pure digital commodities like Bitcoin or Ether, and then you have assets that are issued that are themselves tied to some other asset, like an underlying reserve bank deposit or equity in a company or a loan contract. And so the proliferation is really going to be in, basically these crypto assets that represent real things in the real world, like property. And so ultimately, yes, I think that there will be very, very broad proliferation of digital assets in the market.
Okay. Jeremy Allaire, it's a pleasure to see you as always. We look forward to following your progress with all of it. Come on back because it's a story and a conversation that's not going anywhere fast. I mean, well, maybe it is going somewhere very, very fast, but it's not going away anytime soon. How about that? Thanks.
Absolutely.
Talk to you soon. Becky?
Thank you.